Welcome back again to Spotlight, where we feature the University of Central Arkansas's College of Fine Arts and Communication. Thanks for joining us. I'm here today with my friend Chris Fritzkes and his student Chris Millam, and we're going to talk UCA Theater. But there's a little backstory to the next production of UCA Theater, which is scheduled to open on October 31st. And it's going to be Richard III by William Shakespeare, a sensory-friendly version, and we're going to talk about that. But it's not exactly what we had planned, is it, Chris?
No, it's not, Donna. Thanks for having
Not
us.
at all.
Thanks for having us on, by the way. Yeah, we were slated to do a show called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which is a beautiful play. It won the Tony Award for Best Play a few years back, and we had seen it in London.
UCA Theater took a trip to London.
UCA Theater took a trip to London.
Spring break.
Over spring break, and a few of us had seen it over there. I had also seen it about 5 years ago. We were in pre-production. We pick our seasons 2 years out. And
This was your pick? You wanted to do
yeah,
this?
yeah. It's about an autistic child. I have an autistic son, and it was pretty near and dear to my heart.
Sure.
And then we were through the process. We had some outside designers, and mid-July, I think it was, I got a call saying that we lost the rights to it, or when we applied for the rights, we didn't get them.
Wow.
And it was because a professional theater in the area decided that they wanted to be part of their season, and so
And the professional one always gets
the professional one gets priority over the educational one. So we lost the rights, and we had
bad.
to. It is.
It's too
We'll
bad.
do it again. We'll do it
Okay,
again.
good,
It'll be a
good.
couple years down the line, but we'll get back to it. And so in mid-July, with two outside designers and
Because you had been working on this since when?
we had been working on it since early spring, on conceptualizing it. We were pretty much done, and then we had to completely change gears. Originally we had been slated to do a Shakespeare, but we did a verse piece last year, so we kind of fudged it a little bit within our rotation. So I went and said, well, let's just go back to Shakespeare.
Okay.
And I picked Richard III because I loved the play. It's got a really great main character, one of the most likable villains in Shakespeare. And so I went about trying to conceptualize this, try to pare it down, try to keep it easy on our designers, considering the short time frame.
We've got the same outside designers.
We have the same outside
who are
designers. Heather Roberson, she used to work at the Rep, but she's an architect now. And then we have Danny Grace, who is a retired professor from Hendrix.
Okay.
And he's doing the lights.
Great.
So I went in and cut the script. I like to pare Shakespeare down, and it took me about 15 plus hours to cut the script. So we kind of had to scramble a little bit, but right now I think we have a really great show in place.
Good. And Chris, tell us about, now you were looking forward to, we hadn't done auditions for Curious Incident, right?
Yeah. The audition process didn't get started. So going in, it was like during the summertime. It was whenever we found out about the show, we weren't doing Curious Incident, that we were going to doing Richard III, which was a little different because I started to do a little research on autism and started to get a little bit ready for it. And so then that switch, and I just immediately started looking for a monologue.
Because you knew you wanted to.
Yeah.
And so what is your role?
Well, this is a very heavy ensemble cast, and where the characters play multiple characters, and we have to express that in different ways. So I play Ratcliffe, I play James Tyrrell, I play First Murderer, I play multiple characters.
Good. So, this has never happened before during your time here at UCA?
No, we've never applied for the rights and lost the rights.
Lost them. Okay.
But it's
I mean, live and learn. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
It's kind of a happy accident, you know. Shakespeare is such a challenge to direct, and I was really worried about this because I like to keep Shakespeare around. I'd love an hour and a half, but this is Shakespeare's second longest play, so I can only get it down to 2 hours.
Typically, it would go how long?
Probably about 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So I cut it down to 2, and then there's 40 plus characters in it, and so we have 12 actors doing all those roles. We do it on the conceptualization is a distorted chess set. The game, it's very much like Game of Thrones in a way, because everybody's fighting for the throne. Then you have Richard, which is played by a woman, a cast of woman
really?
as Richard
Okay.
III.
Okay.
And it's that, fighting for the throne, but it's this distorted chess world, and there's the supernatural, and there's dreams, and it's a very much a Halloween-y kind of show.
Oh,
so,
good
yeah.
timing.
Yeah,
Good timing.
yeah.
So tell us about the cast.
The cast is, we have 4 or 5
Yeah.
seniors.
Okay.
It's mainly women right now.
I think there's 4 men.
4 men here, and 4 men, 8 women, and playing multiple roles. Richard does play Richard the whole time, and I think the other character is Buckingham,
Okay.
which is Richard's sort of right-hand person that takes him through all these schemes that he does. And those are the only 2 people that actually just play one
And
character.
who are they?
That would be Michaela Hicks is a senior, and she's playing Richard III.
Okay.
And then we have Carter Rideout, who is, I believe, a sophomore, and he's playing Buckingham.
Okay. So, did you have men audition for Richard? Mm-hmm. And you just liked her?
It just went out. That's how it panned out.
fascinating.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So good,
Yeah.
good.
But it's with Shakespeare, it's nice to kind of keep it compact sometimes. I mean, the more things you start adding to it. I mean, we kept it in the period that it's supposed to be, ish, and it's nice. I mean, the set is very simple, even though actors are playing multiple characters. There is a simplicity to just putting on a hat and becoming somebody else. So I think people really enjoy that. And we're going to do all of our productions, and then I think I may have mentioned this to some other people earlier, but we're going to be doing a sensory-friendly production, one production.
One of those. Okay.
One of those on November 9th.
Okay. So the schedule is October 31st, November 1st, 7th and 8th at 7:30 p.m., and then November 2nd and 9th at 2 o'clock.
2.
Okay.
Right.
And
And
then-
our last production will be our sensory-friendly production.
So how do you do that? Tell me.
It's really-
what's the process involved in turning something from?
Really interesting. I
bet.
I saw the Arkansas Shakespeare Theater do it this summer with Romeo and Juliet, and I was talking to Lynn Holloway over in the occupational therapy department, and they had Paige Reynolds had, in the English program, had put together a grant for help with this to get supplies and whatnot. And basically how it runs is there are a lot of volunteers. Some of the chairs are taken out and some pillows are put down, or boxes or whatever people want to crawl into. The lights are brought up for the audience. There's a person on stage with the script and also a wand that they raise when something violent is going to happen or something loud is going to happen.
So they can.
Right. The lobby is prepped so people can leave and go to the lobby if they need to. But it's not only designed for people that have sensory issues, it's also designed for the parents who may just want a night out and enjoy a play, but have the reassurance that there are people there that can help take care of their loved ones. So it's a really beautiful thing that is happening nationwide, I think, in terms of the arts, and we're trying to help out too.
So something will probably continue.
Yeah, I would love to see this, that every show that UCA Theater does have a sensory-friendly production.
So Chris, tell us, you're from Tulsa, you're a sophomore. How'd you wind up here?
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy story.
Good, we like crazy stories.
I graduated at high school in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Edison High School, and then 3 days later I packed up and moved to California with my brother.
Okay.
And
To do what?
act,
Okay.
just work,
You wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I moved out there, and then I went to auditions, and I was like, oh, dang, I need to get a degree and also get some more training. And so then I just started doing research about what schools I could get into, and the cost of everything, the faculty. I did tours, and I just decided that I liked it here, so I came back to
So
the
how long
Midwest.
were you in California?
A year and a half.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're a non-traditional sophomore, but
Yeah,
we,
yeah,
we
yeah.
like those who realize, hey, I need
Yeah.
to come back and do
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
So what other productions have you been a part of?
I think I've been in a lot of productions since I got here. I think my biggest role would be Lungs with Rebecca Scallett last semester. It was a 2-person show. It was like an hour and a half long with no scene changes, and it was like a 12 by 12 box, and there was no scenery or anything. It was just us on stage acting the entire time. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So Chris, tell us about just sort of in general the state of UCA theater at the moment.
A lot of exciting things are happening. Each semester, we usually bring in a guest artist. We try to bring in 2 guest artists. We have our Alpha Psi Omega, our theater honorary, and they apply through SGA for funds to bring in artists.
Oh, great.
Most recently, last weekend, we had a mask workshop with a gentleman named Blake Haberman, who came in from New York City, and he was a graduate of the Lecoq School in Paris, and he taught us neutral mask, commedia mask, and larval mask. We also had a dancer in earlier, Anna Kimmel. So usually each semester we're doing something. Right now I'm trying to make UCA Theater stage combat central, so I've been really, that's sort of my area of research right now, and for the past few years has been combat. And so in Richard we have broadsword fighting.
Oh, great.
I just choreographed something for the touring production of Romeo and Juliet. So we're really trying to, we have the Bear Brawlers now within UCA Theater, which is another RSO.
I didn't know that. Tell me.
The Bear Brawlers?
So, well, back up. How did you get involved? How did you get interested in this stage combat?
I wanted to do it in my 30s, but I was too chicken. And then I decided, I'm just going to go. I knew about the organization. It's called the Society of American Fight Directors. And so just so happened I started doing a little bit of it. The rep hired me to do a little bit of combat for them. And then I started to go to a few workshops. And then I went to the main conference that's in Ruston, Louisiana. It's 3 weeks, about 14 hours a day.
Wow.
For 3 weeks.
Did you do that
just
last
fight.
summer,
I
or-
did it, yes, I did it last summer.
Okay.
And you get certified in 3 weapons. They have 8 weapon certifications. And so I got 3 there. Currently I have 4 weapons and theatrical firearms certification, which is an additional.
So
But
what are the weapons that you're certified in?
rapier and dagger, broadsword, unarmed, and single sword, which is sort of like the Errol Flynn kind of swashbuckling stuff. But yeah, we're able to. What's been really neat is we are building up our armory. So every January we do a certification where we bring in
Right.
outside guests to teach us. We have to have 30 hours, and in the process we're able to apply for funds so that we can get the weapons so that people can go through this class. And so we're building up a really great armory at UCA, which is pretty fantastic.
Was that part of your what part of the appeal to you? When did you know about that?
No, I actually did not know about that at first, and then I started doing it, and I've had a lot of fun. I've also been able to apply it into other stuff that I've been doing too.
I bet.
Yeah, I just got done filming a thesis film for a master's student here at UCA this entire fall break, and one of the shots is my character falling down, and so because of my stage combat experience, I was able to do it safely and repeatedly for every take and not get hurt. Yeah.
That's great. So what are the Bear Brawlers?
The Bear Brawlers is an RSO that we created in the spring, and so it's brand new. We were given the okay to be a club late, so we didn't get to have a guest artist this semester, but we plan on having a guest artist if we can each semester. Come in from outside to teach various weapons, to teach, and it's not always about weapons. I go to quite a few of these workshops, and a lot of, I think it's just great actor training. I'm learning a lot about various ideas, skills in theater just by going to these various combat workshops.
You know, you don't the typical theater goer doesn't think about all this magic that goes on behind the scenes. So tell us about are you offering classes? I don't know that, and I should know that.
Yeah, actually, we've offered a combat class
Like a
in the
topics
past,
class?
but I'm going to be teaching topics and performance, stage combat in the spring.
Okay, great.
Yeah, for the first time in about 3 years.
Okay.
So, and first time for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so it'll be
exciting.
fun.
Yeah, that's exciting.
But the organization is primarily there. Yes, it needs to look believable, but it also needs to be safe. So that's
Sure.
where the organization kind of came out of. It's like a lot of people were doing this work, whether it be with a knife or a sword or unarmed, and people were doing it and getting hurt. So this organization kind of built
good
out.
reason.
Right. So it's a necessity. And I have plans with the film program to go over and talk about theatrical firearms because those are used quite often in movies. So it's the Brawlers is combined of anybody who's interested in this, and we've had meetings. We're going to have a meeting this Friday.
Okay.
And we're going to go through some of the basics, the safety protocols with things. We'll start to, as we get our legs, we'll start to do more events. Maybe you'll start to see us out and about.
Yeah,
doing
that'd be
things.
great for just letting
Just doing
people know about it.
scenes
Yeah. So how many are involved in that?
We have about 20, I think.
Okay, great.
involved,
Great.
yeah, right now.
So can you tell us a little bit what are some of the magic moves
Magic moves?
that that you do to keep
I don't know. One of
all
my
this safe?
it's mainly
Dare I ask you to demonstrate?
We could.
It's all about where the targets are. So in stage combat, it's a lot about targeting and being specific and making sure you hit those marks each time.
Right.
And if you are not hitting those targets, then you may be being unsafe. I mean, one of my favorites is a slap called the V slap, and it's basically you put your arm forward, and the way they said it's like you're chopping the parrot off of somebody's shoulder, but you don't touch their shoulder, and you're not even touching their face, and then it just comes straight back to the other shoulder. And you can do it in the round, you can do it in a thrust space, and it really looks like somebody is slapping you. So it's quite effective, and when you get the sound with it, it looks pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so well, tell us more about Richard III. Do you want to do a summary of the just for the people who might not? I mean, how do you cut half of it out?
It's a good question. It's built off of other plays like the Henry VI's that nobody ever sees. I think there's 3 parts of Henry VI, and it's dealing with the War of the Roses.
Right.
So it's the House of York and the House of Lancaster. And the House of Lancaster has been pretty much decimated at the beginning of Richard III. And so the House of York is really taking a lot of the power. What ends up happening in the piece, though, is that Shakespeare wrote all of these, wrote all of the backstory in there of all the sixes. And so Edward is a character in the show, but there's like 3 or 4 different Edwards. So basically what I've tried to do is cut a lot of that stuff out and really just stick to the story and moving the story forward. The other thing is, Richard III was not really the person that you see in Shakespeare's play, because he was writing for the Queen at the time, Queen Elizabeth, and he was trying to make Richard look as evil as possible, just to get in good graces with the Queen, really. So Richard did have scoliosis. Sometimes you see Richard with a hump, and our version does have a hump. She's also wearing arm crutches.
Okay.
So Michaela really is moving around almost like a spider. It's really interesting. And I took that inspiration from, there was a famous production that considered one of the great productions of Richard III from the Royal Shakespeare Company in 1984, and it was an actor named Anthony Sher. And if you look up old pictures of that, he would have those arm crutches. So I go from the good artist borrow, great artist steal kind of philosophy. So we decided, hey, I really like that image. So we brought that back to the show and to the story. So it's Richard dealing with because he's called a toad, and he's called a lot of very monstrous bad things, and he's been ridiculed his whole life and
bullied.
Yeah, bullied really. But he's not a nice person. You know, in the play, he kills the young princes, these 10 and 13-year-olds. So he's just a bad dude. And it's his desire for that power, desire for the throne. He's very likable too. Richard is a very likable villain. So he gets the audience on his side.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, there's all these different, very Game of Thrones-esque kind of conspiracy secrets going on around him, and you know, some of the famous lines people would recommend, like a horse, my kingdom for a horse. That's in there. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a great, like I said, Halloween-y show. There's sword fighting, there's mystery, there's suspense, there's love, distorted kind of love, but yeah, it's got everything, I think.
Now, Chris, do you have other experience with Shakespeare?
Shakespeare, I mean, once you do theater, you kind of have to do Shakespeare, but not to, I guess, I haven't been in this big of a production of Shakespeare before, which it all works out too, because I'm taking Rebecca's Shakespeare class at the same time.
Oh, perfect.
So I'm able to learn how to do my homework and do everything, because Shakespeare's a really, really complicated thing, and not a lot of people realize as an actor, you know, it's an iambic pentameter, so it sounds the same. So you have to go through and you have to, you know, count out your syllables, mark out your footing. It's a lot of homework that you have to do on it.
So what have you enjoyed about it? I mean, you're heavy into rehearsals and everything now as we shoot this. What's your favorite role of the 4 or 5 that you play? And how do you do that? I mean, how does an actor get into portraying more than one, just like that?
Well, I mean, it's all in the homework. I feel like you know, you have to do your homework. You have to know exactly. You have to be able to get on stage and not think about what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you have to do your homework to understand what you're saying and to understand who am I talking to across from me. What am I trying to get out of them? You know, like, what are my motivations in this scene? But then also you have to realize that you're playing different characters, so you can't have the same motivations for everyone. It has to be completely different. So you have to think about, you know, like, every character's different. Like, what did they eat for lunch before this? Or like what's going on in their actual life outside of just this scene that they're coming into. And so then sum it up, it's all in the homework for you. So that way, whenever you step on stage, you're not thinking about it. You're just doing it.
So, what will audiences see from this show that, I mean, didn't Shakespeare Theater do Richard III a couple years ago? Okay.
Yeah, so I think it was about 4 or 5 years
4 or
ago.
5, has it been that long? Yeah. The time flies.
It does fly.
But what, you know, why should someone come back and see a different version? What do you?
I ascribe to, you know, I tell the actors that, and this is quite different from Arkansas Shakespeare's production, that the actors, every time they open their eyes, it's always a work of art in that moment. So that, you know, it's hard for an actor, you know, you're doing it night after night after night, keeping it fresh, and the idea of always experiencing it fresh and new. And I think that's the same with an audience perspective as well. You know, going in there, that they are going to get a different take on this. Their Richard, it was an awesome production of Richard. I loved it. Their Richard was different. It didn't have we really play up the disadvantages that Richard is going through in terms of physically, with the hump and with the crutches. It is kind of distorted. The set, you know, the chess is the game of kings, and we've taken the set and made it a gigantic chessboard, but we've distorted it, almost like, you know, it's wavy, right? It's not in clear lines. We've got bold colors in there. We've got a big portal that the actors come through that is a chess piece, but it is slightly distorted to play up a lot of the disturbing dreams that are in there, the supernatural element that is within it, the sense of the allure of evil, really, that Richard brings to it. So I would say that this production is a little bit darker.
Okay.
As befitting
a Halloween.
We also do a lot of experimental movement in it as well.
Okay.
So we have some movement pieces to help tell the story, and so that's a different part of it, I believe. So I think people really, really enjoy this.
Good. So Chris, what have you learned? You've been here, what, just a year and a half now?
Yeah, a year and a
okay,
half
so
now.
and you knew you had to come back, and so what have you accomplished by coming back to school?
The training
I
that I've
bet.
received, and just able to, because the thing about like whenever you're not in school and you're an actor trying to get work, you're not able to work all the time, and so then you're kind of stuck around. You have to try to motivate yourself, and you have to, continue reading plays. You have to continue applying to audition for places, and you have to continue to do that. Where because I'm able to come to school, I'm able to be a part of these shows, and I'm also the film department's right down the road, and so I've done a lot of student films too, so I've gotten film experience from it too. It's just really the training that I've gotten.
Excellent. And what do you hope to do when you graduate? Full time?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's part of being in the school too, just trying to figure those things out.
I'm going to continue acting. I'm going to be acting for the rest of my life. Like it's
Okay.
going to happen.
How did you get the bug?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
Okay, well, let's talk details about Richard III. October 31st, November 1st, 7th and 8th at 7:30 p.m. in Bridges Larson
Yes.
in the Snow Fine Arts
The
Center.
audience is seated on stage,
Okay,
so it's very intimate.
Okay.
There's about 80 seats per night.
okay.
roughly.
And then we have November 2nd and 9th. Those are Sunday matinees, right? 2 o'clock.
Saturday matinees.
Saturday matinees, November 2nd and 9th. And you direct one a year?
One a year.
Okay, so
This is the one.
this is the one. And I'm sorry that you had the difficulty with the original show, but that makes you want to do it again
It's a
next
happy
time.
accident. I think
Yeah,
This
yeah.
has been
And you'll be around still, maybe when we can pull the other one off,
Yeah, I'm
right?
curious.
Okay, very good. Okay, tickets.
$10 for the general public, but with UCA students, faculty, staff, they get 2 free tickets
Okay.
with your ID.
All right, very good. Well, good luck with the production, and join us again next time for Spotlight.
What will you find at UCA?
The next generation of artists
educators,
and communicators.
The College of Fine Arts and Communication offers 42 undergraduate and graduate programs of exceptional quality.
Contributing to a deeper appreciation of the human experience.
but we also invest in your experience.
With broadcasts, conferences, exhibits, live performances,
Publications, recitals, readings, and screenings.
We even offer a unique artist in residence program.
Featuring performances and master classes with accomplished visiting artists.
All of that experience pays off.
The school placement rates of our music teacher graduates with K-12 certification is close to 100%. We have many disciplines here, but they all share the same dedication to rigorous practice,
and scholarly achievement.
which is why our graduates perform so well.
The College of Fine Arts and Communication at the University of Central Arkansas.
Go here and go anywhere.
Here I am back at UCA. This is where I got my start. Acting in plays, studying literature, writing scripts. Campus has grown so much in the last few years, and the technology is incredible. UCA is where I learned the craft of storytelling and got ready for a career in New York and LA. That's how I got here. Go here and go anywhere. Go UCA.